Hello and welcome back to the Sports Sermon. I'm Dylan Staggy.
I'm Jason Gandhi.
I'm John Majors.
And I'm Dan Majors.
And we are back today to talk about more Big Ten football. If you want to see our video about the Big Ten West, check the link in the description to watch that. But today it is all about the Big Ten East. Today we are talking about every team in the Big Ten East. We're going to go through their depth chart, see what they are like on offense and defense, then give a ceiling and a floor and a record prediction for every single team in the Big Ten East. So, let's start off with Michigan. We'll talk about last year first. Dan, what do you have?
Well, the Wolverines went 10-3 last year, 7-2 in the conference, finished third in the East Division, had two late losses to Iowa and Ohio State, and then lost to Florida State in the Rose Bowl. They returned 5 total starters, 4 on offense, 1 on defense. That is the least in the nation. Offense, they lose Davion Smith, Amara Darboh, Jake Butt, Jahud Chesson, Eric Magnuson, and Kyle Kalis. On defense, they lose Jabril Peppers, Ben Gadian, DeMonte Thomas, Delano Hill, Taco Charlton, and Ryan Glasgow. So, Dylan, what do you think about the Wolverines this year, buddy?
You know, Michigan is losing a lot of guys, but Jim Harbaugh has done a fantastic job recruiting. He will fill those guys right in. Plus, they do have Wilton Speight back. 2,500 yards a year ago with 18 touchdowns. He'll be even better this year. They do lose a lot of guys on defense, but Rashawn Gary is ready to step up. A 5-star guy out of high school, and he's ready to be great for the Wolverines. So I think the Michigan can finish anywhere from 11-1 to, if everything goes wrong, 9-3. But I do think they go 11-1, beat Ohio State in the last game to finish as Big Ten champions, Big Ten East champions, then go to the Big Ten championship game and lose to Wisconsin.
Wow, big time stuff there from Stacky.
All right, so offensively, Wilson Speight's back and is going to be the leader of the offense. Unfortunately, the top 3 receivers are gone, but with almost all of the top end production gone. There's talent, but it's all very, very young. Star recruits Tariq Black, not the Lakers basketball player, and Donovan Peoples-Jones could rock right away, while Eddie McDoom has game 2. Leading rusher Devion Smith might be gone, but tough scoring fullback Khalid Hill is back. And there should be an excellent rotation with Chris Evans leading a 4-headed monster working behind a strong and versatile line. The Wolverines have to replace 11 of the 13 top tacklers from the nation's #1 defense. No big. They're so inexperienced, but their secondary has no career interception. It's going to be a trial by error type situation there. But their line is going to be phenomenal, led by top recruit Rashawn Gary. So my ceiling for them is 11-1. I don't see any way they beat Ohio State, and I don't see... Really, that's how they get their one loss, and I think they also lose to Penn State. And they also lose another game, and I think that one is not to Penn State. I think it's to Michigan State. I think Michigan State pulls off the upset because it's a rivalry game. What happened when it was at Michigan last time? I think everybody remembers. I think it happens again.
The same exact play happens again?
No, I think we upset them. And I think Michigan finishes at 10-2. I think if everything goes wrong, they go 7-5, but I don't think that's going to happen. So I think 10-2, and they get to go to a New Year's Six Bowl. And their MVP is Rashawn Gary, leading the defense to one of the best defenses in the country.
There should be absolutely no talk in the college football playoff with the Michigan Wolverines this year. Lost way too much NFL talent. They have a lot of young players that could be good, and they have the most overrated quarterback I've ever seen in Wilton Speight. He's not clutch. He throws way too many interceptions, and against big teams, he costs them a lot. Rashawn Gary will be the MVP, but they will lose week 1 to Florida. I have them losing at Penn State and to Ohio State. They will finish 9-3 and 7-2 in conference and finish 3rd in the East.
Yeah, I'm right with John on this one. They just way too inexperienced. Honestly, you can't win more games than the year before if you only return 5 guys. So I have their ceiling and floor as 10-2 and 6-6. 8-4, I have them going. 6-3 in the conference, losing to Florida. I see no way they beat Florida with an inexperienced group. There's no way they're prepared to win that game. I have them losing to Penn State, Wisconsin, and Ohio State, finishing third in the East.
8-4.
Didn't you say yesterday that Wisconsin was going to lose to Michigan, and that's why they were not going to finish number 1 in the division?
No, I have Wisconsin beating Michigan.
He does.
I have that in the Big
Wisconsin
Ten
losing
championship.
to Minnesota and somebody else.
I thought you said that was how they were going to lose. But anyway, I 100% disagree. There's no way they get less than. I think 9-3
Yeah,
would
that's
be
the
worst case
floor.
scenario.
You just said 7-5 was a floor.
But I mean, that's like I'm saying if everything went wrong, I'm saying realistic worst case scenario is 9-3 for Michigan.
Well, I just don't think they beat Florida. Penn State's
Florida's
a much better
awful.
team than them. Florida's not bad. They returned 9 guys on offense.
That
And
doesn't-
Florida's good. They needed a quarterback.
And
They
get
finally got
Zaire.
one, Malik Zaire.
Zaire was not good at Notre Dame.
When he was healthy, he was.
how many interceptions did he throw at Notre Dame? How many turnovers did he have?
Oh yeah, 0.
Yeah, none.
So he's
What do you
not.
mean so? You
Why
take
would
care of
you
the
couldn't even
ball.
beat Deshaun Kaiser?
Because
Oh, good. We got a backup. Yes, we got a backup coming. Now we're gonna win games. You don't care how good he was. He's a backup at a Division I school.
And you guys said in the Notre Dame episode that Deshaun Kaiser was
terrible. So
and
why
that
wasn't
you're
Why
so
wasn't
glad
Zaire
that
playing
Brandon
if he was
It
Wimbush.
wasn't
so
clutch. That was
good?
my knock.
If Zaire was
I never
so
said Kaiser
good,
was terrible.
yes, you did.
No, I
People,
didn't.
yes, you, Zach,
I
and
never said he was
Zach-
terrible.
Zach was
you,
really
Zach,
saying
and
this
John were all
Never
saying
said
how
Kaiser
bad
was
Kaiser
terrible.
How
was.
could Kaiser be
And-
terrible when he was
No.
taking, second round, late second round?
Yeah, 52nd overall.
Yeah.
You were saying that you're not going to miss Kaiser and how Wimbush
We're
is
not.
such an improvement because Kaiser was so bad. Now you've
Down
got.
the stretch, he was not clutch.
Then why the
I mean,
heck was Zaire not playing? Because he's a backup and obviously didn't have what it takes.
Okay,
He's not going to go find that in Florida.
They put a package in for him that was so wrong. Malik Zaire was a stud the year that we were supposed to go to the college football player we projected with all that with Jalen Smith his junior year. Malik Zaire was like a pro-style spread quarterback that was the right system for him. Brian Kelly threw that away for some reason.
Yeah.
But Malik Zaire was a stud against Texas.
He played 2 games
All right,
when
all
he
right.
played in that season.
Enough
yeah,
about.
but he.
You can be good for
Trust
2
me,
games.
stud.
I will tell you right now, Florida is going to be a good team because of Malik Zaire.
No.
They will definitely beat Michigan.
Definitely.
I put money on that.
So
they don't
much
beat
experience.
Michigan.
I'll put money down on that too.
We're not putting this on the record, but no, we're not betting on this. But let's move on to the next team.
All right. Let's move on to Ohio State. Last year they went 11-2, finished 8-1 in the conference, and second in the East Division. Lost to Clemson in the Fiesta Bowl. First time that Urban Meyer has ever been blown out that bad, getting shut out. They returned 15 total starters, 8 on offense, 7 on defense. On offense, they lose Curtis Samuel, Noah Brown, Dontre Wilson, and Pat Elflein. Defense, they lose Raekwon McMillan, Lee Cooker, Marshawn Lattimore, and Garyon Conley. So, Dylan, what do you think about the Buckeyes?
The Buckeyes are going to be fantastic this year. JT Barrett, 26-4 in his career. He's coming back, and the Buckeyes were a year early last year, making it to the college football playoff. Obviously, they didn't go too well when Clemson pounded them in the first round, but the Buckeyes are going to be fantastic again this year. I say they run the table until the last game versus Michigan. It is at Michigan, and it is a rivalry game, so I'm picking Michigan there. But the Buckeyes don't make it to the Big Ten championship then, because Michigan finishes 8-1 in the conference, makes the Big Ten championship, and then loses to Wisconsin. So then Ohio State makes the playoffs still because Michigan or Wisconsin doesn't have a strong enough resume.
That's interesting because last year they made it, didn't win the conference championship.
I see the same thing
But
happens.
How late did they lose last year? They lost
It was to Penn State. It was like
in the middle of
week
the year.
8, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
because they lose so late, I'm not sure they would make it.
I
That's
think
an,
I
yeah,
don't
that's a
know.
good argument there because that's the big thing is losing late kills you. That's.
Yeah.
I say they still make. I mean, they'll probably be number one.
I mean,
or
they
no-
would they'd
they'd be
beat
number-
Oklahoma and they'd beat Penn State and they'd be 1 or 2 right behind Bama if not 1. And so I mean, I can see both sides. I know what
Yeah.
you're saying though. If you
I
lose,
mean, in my opinion, I wouldn't have had them in last year. If you don't win your
I don't
conference,
remember about last year.
if
Who
you
was
don't,
on the
if
bubble?
you don't win your I'm just saying in just normal. If you don't win your conference, you should not make the college football playoff. Not in my opinion, but
Also,
the
if you're not
college
in the
football
conference,
playoff,
you
you
shouldn't
can't.
make the college football playoff. But that's another
That's
story.
false. You have a better schedule than you probably.
yeah.
No, but you have to be a conference champion to be in the college football playoff.
Well, obviously not from last year. I say the same thing happens for Ohio State.
For me, Ohio State. I think they go 11-1. Also, Kevin Wilson is there to help restart the offense after the embarrassment against Clemson. JT Barrett will be a Heisman candidate again after a very strong line comes back to help him. And running back Mike Weber stepping in, and Curtis Samuel's gone, so he's gonna have to carry the load. The wide receivers are reportedly very talented, but we haven't seen them, so there's lots of concern with their lack of experience. Defensively, the defensive end rotation of Tyquan Lewis, Nick Bosa, Sam Hubbard, and Jalen Holmes is the best in America. There's no debate, with 4 all-star next-level starters who will boost up the pedestrian 28 sacks of last year. Secondary doesn't have another Malik Hooker, but Damon Webb is a good, hard-hitting safety. Their ceiling is 12-0. Their floor is 9-3. I think they go 11-1. They lose to Oklahoma in week 2, and then after that, they win out. MVP is JT Barrett. Sorry.
I really like this Ohio State team. They have a quarterback that seems like he's been there for 10 years in JT Barrett, but he's a stud. They actually have a quarterback, unlike Michigan, so that's going to put them ahead. I have Ohio State going 12-0 and 9-0 in conference, and that'll be the number 1 seed in the college football playoff. I really like this team, and they have a good defense. They have weapons on offense. I believe the receivers will be solid. Yes, they are young and inexperienced, but they are very good and highly recruited guys, and they will beat Oklahoma week 2.
I also like Ohio State, ranked 11th in points per game last year, 6 in giveaways. I don't like that they lost Marcus Ball and KJ Hill. No. I don't like that they lost Curtis Samuel, Noah Brown, and Dontre Wilson, their top 3 receivers. So experience at receiver is going to be a question. But defense looks good. 6 out of 7 guys in the front 7. Return with a lot of athleticism with Sam Hubbard and Tyquan Lewis. I think their ceiling is 12-0, obviously. Floor 8-4. But I have them at 11-1, 8-1 in the conference. Losing to Penn State, I think Penn State and Ohio State will be maybe the game of the year. And I have them finishing 2nd in the East. So, let's move on to Penn State, where last year they went 11-3, 8-1 in the conference, and won the Big Ten championship. Went on to lose to USC in the Rose Bowl. They returned 16 total starters, 9 on offense, 7 on defense. On offense, they lose Chris Godwin, leading receiver. That's really it on the offensive side of the ball. On defense, they lose Brandon Bolden, Malik Golden, and Garrett Sickles. So, Dylan, what do you think about Penn State?
Penn State really overachieved last year, kind of like Ohio State. Not as much, but they did still win the Big Ten and just missed out on the college football playoff. Saquon Barkley will be back. He was fantastic last year, a top NFL prospect for the year after. 4 offensive line starters back, which will also help Barkley in the running game. Some holes to fill at defensive end and outside linebacker, but Penn State used a lot of players last year, so they aren't necessarily inexperienced. I think they can finish anywhere from 10-2 to 8-4, but I think they go right in the middle, 9-3, and just miss a New Year's Six Bowl.
Offensively, they're phenomenal. Chris Godwin's their only loss. Everyone else who caught a pass is back. The offense is going to be unbelievable. Like I said, Trace McSorley, Saquon Barkley, those 2 alone. Wow. Scoring early will be the focus for the Nittany Lions this year. Starting slow cost them in some games. Defensively, no real weaknesses. Defensive ends are a little thin, but still very good. Not really much there. Ceiling and floor. Ceiling is 11-1. I don't see them any chance beating Ohio State, but I think their floor is 7-5 with injuries, and if their defense doesn't live up to the expectation, then they could drop all the way to 7-5. I like them at 10-2, 9-3. I think because I have Michigan State pulling the upset off against Michigan, I'll have them lose to Penn State, even though it's a rivalry game. So I like Penn State at 10-2 and finishing 3rd in the Big Ten. MVP is Saquon Barkley, who ran for close to 1,500 yards, 18 scores, caught 28 passes for 402 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Like you guys said, I like Penn State. I believe they'll have a better season than they did last year. Trace McSorley and Saquon Barkley, both studs. Saquon Barkley is possibly the best running back in the country. They have a very manageable schedule. I like this Pitt team from the ACC, but they will get a win. I have them beating Michigan. Their only loss will come to Ohio State, so they'll go 11-1 and 8-1 in conference. They will not make the Big Ten championship game, and therefore they will not make the college football playoff.
I am really high on Penn State this year. Only real guy they lost on offense was Chris Godwin, who was the leading receiver. They ranked 18th in points per game with 38. You get Heisman candidate Saquon Barkley back, and I think he will have a good shot at winning the Heisman this year. Trace McSorley will be big with over 3,600 yards passing and 500 yards rushing. Returned 4 starters in the offensive line to give Saquon Barkley something great to run behind. This might be James Franklin's best offensive line he's had so far. He returned 5 out of the 7 guys in the front 7. Marcus Allen, I think he will be big this year with 110 tackles and 6 tackles for loss a year ago. I think their ceiling is 12-0, floor 8-4. Last year, I think this is huge. They finished the year with 9 straight wins and then a loss to a hot USC team. I have them going 11-1, 8-1 in the Big Ten, losing to Michigan State, coming off a win against Ohio State. I think they lose to Michigan State after that. They win the Big Ten and go to the college football playoff. So, let's move on to the Indiana Hoosiers. As last year, they went 6-7, 4-5 in the conference, finished 4th in the East. Went to the Foster Farms Bowl and lost to Utah. They returned 15 total starters, 6 on offense, 9 on defense. On offense, they lose Divine Redding, Ricky Jones, Mitchell Page, Dan Feeney, and Wes Rogers. On defense, they lose Marcus Oliver and Ralph Green. Staggy, what do you think about the Hoosiers this year?
You know, I'm liking my Hoosiers, but it's weird. I mean, years before, it was like the offense was the side of the ball that's going to dominate, and the defense was really, really bad. But with Tom Allen as the head coach, and after his breakthrough year last year with IU's defense, the roles have reversed. The defense is just as good as the offense this year. Rashard Fant, Tegray Scales back on the defensive side. They'll be really solid there. On the offensive side, Richard Legault had a rough year last year, 17 picks. He's got to eliminate those, and if he does, the passing game will be really solid with Nick Westbrook coming back at receiver, also Simi Cobbs. But the running back and offensive line, the part of the offense that's been strong for IU in the past few years, is not going to be as good. Divine Redding left last year, also Jordan Howard and Tevin Coleman the years before. So running back position is a question for IU, also losing Dan Feeney last year. The running game is going to be tough for IU next year, but I think the passing and the defense will be enough to put them in another bowl game. I say my Hoosiers go 6-6.
IU, I like the offense. Richard Legault will be productive. Just needs to cut down on the 17 picks from last season. He has Simi Cobbs and Nick Westbrook. The passing game will be fine. Dan Feeney and Divine Redding gone will hurt the run game of IU. The rotation of backs will have to take on the loss of Redding. Defense is loaded for ones. Linebackers, T.J. Simmons and Tegray Scales will be a phenomenal linebacking group. And cornerbacks, Richard Fant is leading a group of cornerbacks with 4 starters back. Their MVP, I think, is Tegray Scales with 126 tackles, 7 sacks, 23.5 tackles for loss, and a pick 6. Ceiling, I think, for them is 8-4. Floor is 5-7. I have them coming in at 7-5.
I believe this IU team will improve from a year ago. They will go 7-5, 4-5 in conference. Their new head coach, they're going to improve. I like Richard Legault. Also, their surprise player on offense will be Brandon Knight, the right tackle. He used to play baseball with them. He's going to have a great season.
All right. IU, I have them at 6-6, 3-6 in the conference. They ranked 76 in points per game last year, allowed 37 points per game and 380 yards per game last year, which is pretty average. IU, I have them at a pretty average season, finishing 5th in the East. Let's move on to Michigan State. Last year, not a good year for the Spartans. Going 3-9, 1-8 in conference, finishing 6th in the East. Obviously didn't make a bowl game. They only returned 8 total starters, 4 on offense, 4 on defense. On offense, key guys they lose are Tyler O'Connor, R.J. Shelton, Josiah Price, Cody Keeler, and Brandon Clements. On defense, they lose Monte Nicholson, Riley Below, Dimitri Cox, Malik McDowell, and Darian Hicks. So, Staggy, what do you think about the Spartans this year?
I think the Spartans have a bounce back year, but not all the way. Not going to be close to their college football playoff appearance from 2 years ago. But LJ Scott, Brian Lewerke on the offensive side. LJ Scott will be fantastic this year. Some young defensive tackles, Raekwon Williams and Mike Panasiuk. A solid defensive line this year for Michigan State. Defense overall, solid, nothing too great though. I say the Spartans go 7-5 this year.
My Spartans, rough year last year to say the least. Offensively, only 100% stable position is running back. LJ Scott, Madre London, and Gerald Holmes are back to ball. At quarterback, Brian Lewerke looks like the guy, but he is young. He's mobile, but broke his leg last year. Not really confident, but I'm hopeful in him. Wide receiver is a question mark. We lost our top 4 targets, so young guys need to step up. And Brian Allen is a stud on the offensive line, just following the Allen last name at Michigan State. Defensively, very veteran defense. Played well against Ohio State and held up late until the game in Ann Arbor. Both safeties are gone, but besides that, defense should be a positive. Chris Fry is a stud. My ceiling for them is 10-2. I think if everything goes right, they could finish 10-2. I think if everything goes wrong, they could go 5-7. So really all over the place. But I like them at 8-4. Like I said, I think they upset Michigan or Penn State. I don't really know which. I don't really care which, as long as we get one of them. I think we'll get one of them. I said Michigan on this, and I'm good with either, like I said. So I'm going to finish 8-4, make it to a solid bowl game, and all the rumors about D'Antonio having his job hot seat is just stupid. He'll be there for a long, long time.
I agree. I also have them going 8-4 and 5-4 in conference. Last year was a definite fluke. Mark D'Antonio is one of the best coaches in the country. LJ Scott will be a stud this year, and a bunch of young guys gained a lot of crucial experience. So that's going to be crucial for them moving forward.
Yeah, nothing much else to say. Not a good year last year. LJ Scott, obviously the key. Guys like Chris Spray and Raekwon Williams will be big on defense. I have them finishing 7-5, 4-5 in the conference. Finishing 4th in the East. I have them getting a key win over Penn State after Penn State knocks off Ohio State in the regular season. So yeah, let's move on to Maryland. As last year they went 6-7, 3-6 in the conference, finished 5th in the East. Went on to the Quick Lane Bowl against Boston College and lost. They returned 13 total starters, 6 on offense, 7 on defense. On offense, they lose Perry Hills, Teldrick Morgan, Laverne Jacobs, and Michael Dunn. On defense, they lose Alvin Hill, Hazabweek, Ukandu, and Roman Braglio. So, Staggy, what do you think about the Terrapins?
Well, Maryland's running game is going to be fantastic. Ty Johnson and Lorenzo Harrison coming back. Johnson had 9.1 yards per carry last year and over 1,000 yards. Harrison had 7.2 yards per carry. DJ Moore is the best guy, a speedy and versatile receiving corps. He has 9 touchdowns in the past 2 years and is ready to lead these receivers. Still questions at the quarterback, though, but Caleb Henderson looks to step in there. I don't love Maryland this year. I think they have another average year and finish 6-6.
Wow, I'm not high on Maryland at all. They're hoping like hell. Superstar recruit Taysom Hill can be the quarterback of the future for the Terps. The running back situation is fantastic, with Ty Johnson and Lorenzo Harrison, a dangerous tandem, combining to average close to 8 yards per carry, while DJ Moore is a good target who needs to be fantastic for a rebuilding receiver corps. Defensively, lots of experience. The linebacker corps is a fantastic place to start with Jermaine Carter and Shane Cockerilli combining for 218 tackles. It's quietly going to be among the best groups in the conference with depth, rotation, and potential all-stars. There's decent Big Ten level size and athleticism up front in the all-senior starting 4 to make life easier for the back 7, and there's tackling ability in the secondary, but coming up with more turnovers is crucial. Their schedule is tough this year. They've got OSU, Wisconsin, and Northwestern on consecutive weeks, and they've got Michigan, Michigan State, and Penn State to end the year. I think it's going to be a rough year for the Terps. I'll have them going 4-8 with a ceiling of 6-6 and a floor of 2-10.
2-10. Wow.
I mean, yeah, that schedule's
Yeah,
brutal.
Staggy, who do you have on?
6 and
Like,
6.
key
Yeah.
wins
What are
do
your
you
6?
have?
What are your 6 wins? I guess.
Towson, UCF, Minnesota, IU, Rutgers, and one more. I think they upset somebody.
So you got 5. You got 5 clear wins with 1 upset.
Yeah.
See, I think I've got 4 clear wins, and then
I mean,
they
Minnesota's
lose, and then like the 5th game would be an upset. I don't think they do it. That's where I was at.
I mean, at Minnesota's pretty tough, but
That's yeah. Dan, you're way too high on Minnesota. For me, I had Towson, UCF, Rutgers, and then either Minnesota or IU, and then the other one I was like, no, they won't win both. That's why I have 4.
You guys forgetting about a tough test in week 1 at Texas.
Well, that's a
going-
guaranteed
Well,
loss.
that's a guaranteed
Yeah.
loss.
That's
Yeah.
a guaranteed loss, in my opinion. Shane Buechele is going to have a great season over there. But Maryland is a young team. They do have a good running game, but they have to establish a quarterback. I have them going 3-9 and 2-7 in conference. They are nothing special. They're going to finish second to last in the Big Ten East. They have a very tough schedule, like you guys said. But if their defense can play better than expected, then you can possibly see them moving up.
yeah, I'm also not high on Maryland. Ranked 99th in points per game, 96 in yards per game, 83rd in yards allowed last year. They're not going to do very well. I have them at 4-8, 1-8 in the conference, finishing 6th in the East. So let's move on to Rutgers. Last year, not a good year. Going 2-10, 0-9 in the conference. Of course, finishing last in the East. They return 14 total starters, 6 on offense, 8 on defense. On offense, they lose Justin Goodwin, Andre Patton, and Chris Mueller. On defense, they lose Anthony Siofi, Darius Hamilton, and Julian Penix Hodrick.
All right, for Rutgers this year, new offensive coordinator and Jerry Kill. Robert Martin coming back with 625 rushing yards last year. And Janarion Grant coming back at the wide receiver position. He missed the final 8 games last year in a terrible Rutgers season. The defense is going to be very bad. 3 fifth-year starters on a defense that finished 116th nationally and 126 against the run. If you have 3 fifth-year starters on a team that's that bad on defense, that's not anything too good. Rutgers has another very bad year, 2-10.
Yeah, for Rutgers, their offense finished worst in the country. The strength is at receiver, getting back Janarion Grant from injury to go along with Jawan Harris to form a dangerous 1-2 punch. But is there a quarterback to get them the ball? The answer is no, but Kyle Bolin, transfer from Louisville, is going to try his best. Defensively, they're so young, their only hope is that they can get all the game's experience from last year to help them. They're led by Trevor Morris, who will be their MVP this year at linebacker, who led the team with 102 stops, a sack, and 3.5 tackles for loss. I think if everything goes right, everything clicks, 4-8, the floor, 1-11, and I like him at 2-10.
I also have them going 2-10. They have a tough schedule in the Big Ten, and they will get obliterated in the first game of the season against Washington. They do get Janarion Grant back, which I think he'll have a solid season. They have a few transfers that are going to make an impact, they hope, but a lot of issues on this Rutgers team.
Yeah, nothing much else to say. Ranked 128th in points per game and yards per game, 118th in points allowed, and 105th in yards allowed last year. Nothing great there. Ceiling, I have it 3-9, 4-0-12. I think they go 2-10, 0-9 in the conference, and last in the East. So let's move on to our surprise team of the year. Saggy, what do you got?
I couldn't decide between Indiana or Maryland. If everything clicks right for IU, they could pull off a couple upsets because if you guys remember last year, they hung close with every good team. Ohio State, Michigan, both of those guys. If everything clicks right, they could pull off a couple upsets there. And I was higher on Maryland than all of you guys, so I like them too.
My surprise team is my own Michigan State Spartans. Like I said, I think they go 8-4, and I think they have potential to go 9-3. But in those 8 wins, they upset Michigan or Penn State, and so I'm excited about the Spartans football season.
My surprise team is IU. I agree with Dylan. They have the potential to pull off big upsets. Like, they really played well against Ohio State a few years ago. I believe they could pull off one this season.
I'll agree with Jason here. Michigan State coming off a 3-9 season. I have them at 8-4. It's a very big surprise. So let's move on to our disappointing team. Staggy, what do you got?
I'm going to go with Penn State. After winning the Big Ten championship last year, I think they drop back down to 9-3. I still like them. They're going to be another solid squad, but Ohio State and Michigan are just going to be standing in their way.
See,
Who do you have them losing to, Staggy?
Let me check. Let's go.
Penn State schedule, yeah.
I think they lose to Michigan, Ohio State, and maybe Michigan State, maybe Indiana too, maybe Iowa. I think they lose one of those three.
All right. My disappointing team is Michigan, but just because they won't make the college football playoff, I think that's kind of the expectation in Ann Arbor right now is to win the college, or not to win, but to get to the college football playoff, never getting there. And so I think they disappoint as they just miss by losing to Ohio State the last game of the year.
I agree. I have Michigan, but they will lose at least 3 games this year.
I also have Michigan at 8-4. So, I'm not a fan of them this year. Only returning 5 guys. No way they get back to what they did last year. Player who deserves a bigger spotlight, Staggy, what do you got?
My guy is going to be Tegray Scales. He's going to be the MVP for IU this year. 125 tackles last year. He's played for 3 years and is now a senior at IU. He is fantastic and will have a great year this year for IU.
Mine's Maurice Hurst. I feel like he gets overshadowed by Rashawn Gary at Michigan. He's a stud and their best defensive player.
Mine is Janorian Grant, wide receiver from Rutgers. All he needs to do is stay healthy, and he will have a great season.
Mine's Marcus Allen, free safety at Penn State. Led the team in tackles with 110 last year. He will anchor the defense. Coach on the hottest seat, Staggy, what do you got?
Mine is going to be Mark D'Antonio. If he has another year like he did last year, his seat will be pretty hot. I mean, I don't think he will, but I think if he has another bad season, 2 losing seasons in a row for Michigan State could get him fired.
I guarantee you if they win 1 game, he's there next year. He
game.
brought them to be a dynasty of college football from 2010 to 2015. They were up in the not college football playoff, but in the BCS rankings and the college football playoff for the last 5 years, from 2010 to 2015. If they win 1 game, he'll be back. There's no way that Michigan State's athletic director will give up on Mark D'Antonio, a guy that brought in so much money, brought them to the first ever college football playoff in school history. He's not going anywhere.
I agree.
Yeah.
He's
safe.
changed that program.
Coach on the hottest seat, Chris Ash from Rutgers. There's just 2-10. They lost 78-0 to Michigan last year. He's gone if he doesn't do good, I would hope.
I also have Chris Ash.
Yeah.
Guess what? It's his 2nd season. It's the reality of college football. He'll be gone.
All right, I have Mark D'Antonio. Look, if he has another losing season, I think he could be gone. I think he's the guy on the hottest seat right now. So
How is in a hotter seat than Chris Ash? What has Chris Ash done?
nothing, but Rutgers hasn't done anything. So
The
Exactly.
expectations,
Michigan-
well, that's his argument.
But
Yeah.
but Michigan State, but who brought the expectation to be high originally?
for Michigan State,
Yeah, Mark D'Antonio. He brought them there. You can't give up on somebody because when you bring them up, they were like nothing. 10 years ago, it was Kirk Cousins, and that's what started everything. Before him, there was no one talking about Michigan State football.
They used to have
they
a
were-
really, really, really good coach, but that didn't turn out all
Saban.
right.
Yeah, like there were guys here and there. Like it wasn't like we were irrelevant, but we were never in the competitive national exposure that we are in now, and that is all because of Mark D'Antonio, and for basketball, it's all because of Tom Izzo. The coaches at Michigan State in the biggest 2 sports are not going anywhere.
I don't know. 2 losing seasons in a row after making the college football playoff. It's a big drop.
The argument is their expectation. If their
I
expectations
understand what
are
these are
that
I
arguing,
don't
but I
think
guess-
he will be gone. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
It
I don't
could
think
be
so
a hotter
either.
seat.
But he's
Yeah.
the hotter seat than.
I just don't see. I think the worst case scenario, he's still there, in my opinion. Just from what you hear, the only thing where I thought you guys were going to take it is if these allegations with the whole sexual assault thingy to the football program, whenever that comes out, if something happens and he's losing season, okay, then there's an argument. But as long as that off the field stuff stays off the field, no big deal. I think he's there.
All right, let's move on to the best pro prospect. Staggy, what do you got?
I think definitely Saquon Barkley, breakout year last year for Penn State. He'll be a top 10 pick next year. Running backs are being more valued in the NFL, and people are not afraid to take him in the top 10, as we saw with Ezekiel Elliott working out and with Leonard Fournette being drafted high again in this past draft. So definitely Saquon Barkley for me.
Yeah, I was between him and Tyquan Lewis, but because I'm pretty sure everyone else went Barkley, I'm going to go with Tyquan Lewis. He is, since Joey Bosa, the hardest guy to stop in college football. He didn't, I guess stats don't blow off the page with only 8 sacks, 10.5 tackles for a loss last season, but he is going to be a stud in the NFL, very similar to Joey Bosa, and he's going to be phenomenal.
All right, I also have Saquon Barkley. He's definitely a top 2 running back in college football. Look for him to maybe even win the Heisman this year.
Yep, Saquon Barkley, Heisman candidate, best running back in the draft class.
All right, that'll sum up our Big Ten preview. We've got we got fantasy football tomorrow, taking a break Sunday, and then we're back at it with college football and fantasy football all next week.
Yeah, a lot of good football content coming up on the Sports Sermon. If you want to see it all, make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you enjoyed this college football video and want to see more like it, hit the like button. And make sure you follow us on Twitter if you want to see every time we post a new video or a new article on our website. The link to that is in the description. So thank you guys for listening, and we will see you tomorrow.